Today's topic is I was going to think about fasting. We can look at fasting from a couple of different perspectives. One from the obvious food consumption. We have seen many different cultures. We've seen people in history, whether that was cavemen as well as ancient peoples, and a lot of religions have also adopted fasting as a form of withholding the body from sensory pleasure as well as allowing the body to cleanse and detoxify itself. And we're seeing a resurgence of fasting being used during retreats and not only food fasting, but sensory fasting, uh, fasting from media consumption. Because in a modern society, such as, well, where I currently reside is Western Europe, there are many, there's just so many, how do you say, influences that work on our psyche, that work on our emotions, that call us to action, whether that is to consume the media even further or to purchase something. Usually we're being funneled, that's a good marketing and sales strategies. We're being funneled into a place, whether that's a website, an Instagram page, or any other social media page, to consume, to buy. And the same thing goes for music, even for TV shows, for movies. It's all a it's all a form of hidden programming, of conditioning, you could say. And I notice how prevalent it is in our society, and I think you realize how heavy it actually is, or how impactful it is once you remove that from your life, even temporarily. For example, if you take a day, or better yet, go for a week into into pure nature, or into the purest of nature that you can in your vicinity, if that's possible, and remove yourself from the entire energetic field of a city, which on its own is a pretty interesting topic as well. But remove yourself from that equation, and you notice how much more at peace you might be. For some, it can seem as if withdrawals start to happen. And that's not only from media, but that's also from the food that we eat, the the TV shows that we look at, the movies we love to watch, the music we love to listen to every day. We're being influenced from different angles, and it's no wonder that you start feeling a lot better about yourself, about the environment around you. You start, when you've been withheld from distractions, your life seems to fall into place a lot easier. Your system starts to rebuild. It starts to notice, hey, I'm not under attack. I'm not under influence as much as I used to. And I would wager that's the reason why a lot of enthusiasts, adventurers, um, mountain climbers, alpinists, they love to be out there, because that is where that is where we can get natural dopamine. And I have some friends who love that kind of lifestyle, and I understand why they want to keep doing it, why they want to keep exploring, because it's a way of life that's not very much encouraged nowadays. I see a lot more homebodies, a lot more, well, introverts. Not to say that you don't have mountain climbers that aren't introverts, but being inside is the new norm. Being away from the harsh elements, from the rain, from experiencing things outside is, and especially now during winter, we have all the incentives to be inside, right? If you look at the holiday season, that in of itself is a great marketing strategy. But we've been conditioned to be inside, to have our entertainments, to have our creature comforts, right? To have food, to have water, to have abundance within our own home. And whilst I do agree that your home should be, well, it should be the safest place that you should have on earth, and it should be the first base of safety for whatever you're doing in life. I noticed that we just sometimes do too much inside. We consume too much food, media, and we don't let go enough of these things. We don't seem to seek that same comfort and ease and peace inside of ourselves. And the excuse comes up a lot of, oh, I'm just going to spend some time by myself, but that time is spent scrolling online or watching a movie. Not to say that those things cannot recharge you, but if you take that away and instead surround yourself or adapt your surroundings to what you actually need for proper rest and to detox yourself, I think you'll start to notice how much more peaceful you are, how much clearer the mind becomes, how much how much less decluttered, or how do you say, what's the proper terminology for that? You notice how cluttered your brain is from this all these influences left and right all day long. And it's so easy to be distracted nowadays. There's music in the supermarkets. Well, there used to be music back then as well. But you got radio stations, you got podcasts, you got videos. Media is accessible within a few seconds on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. It's just all around you. So fasting is then looked at as, oh, hey, are you okay? Are you eating? Are you keeping up with the news? Are you looking at what's happening around you? Have you seen that meme or have you seen that TV show? And of course, it's a way of connection. But it's become such a norm that when someone around you, whether that might be yourself or a friend, they start fasting, and I've been met with complete surprise and complete like, oh my gosh, are you okay, bro? But I've never felt better. Having taken out or having changed the relationship to what I consume as, it's changed my life for the better. When I do these very short fasts, 18 to 36 hours, nothing too out there, and I'd say that's well within, those are rookie numbers, but regardless. For example, in my personal life, I aim to eat my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or at least three large meals in the span of 6 hours. And I've conditioned my body to a point where I can do that. I don't get too full, and neither do I go hungry or have the feeling of hunger, at least, because let's be honest, I've never gotten hungry in my life. And then I fast for the next 18 hours up until the very next day when I have breakfast again. And I notice and here's the trick, you can still consume the amount of calories that you need in order to grow, in order to bulk, or if you want to fast, or as in you want to cut. And I see how I still get my caloric needs in, but I also get the benefits of a very short fast. My body won't go into autophagy just yet because that's at the 24-hour mark when your glucose and glycogen stores have been depleted. Correct me if I'm wrong. But those 18 hours teach you a daily, how do you say? It takes away the distraction of food and the emotional impact it has on you. Your relationship changes with that completely. And once you're able to apply that same logic to media consumption, it becomes very easy, or at least it's a lot less hard to get into that same mindset about what you listen to and what you watch. And I've drastically decreased the amount of media that I consume by, if I can put that in a ballpark, um, I'd say percentage wise, let's just say my screen time used to be, let's say, 8 hours. And that's in total. That's on my phone, on my computer. That I've reduced now to only about 1 to 2 hours max. Do I have exceptions? Do I still fail, quote unquote? Yes, I do. Sometimes I still doom scroll. But that's mostly because of another mechanic, and that is fleeing. We're still fleeing. Fleeing from responsibility, fleeing from the truth, fleeing from listening to whatever God has to say to us, inside of us. Because when you remove all the distractions for a prolonged amount of time, when you've fought through the quote unquote withdrawal symptoms, you start hearing what your life's purpose actually is. You start noticing how much clearer you can think, how much more you can feel, how much more energy and life and vitality that is actually present within you. And when that becomes the norm, when you've done that enough times, then you notice that fundamentally you have the energy. You have enough energy to last you through the day, maybe even into the next day without even feeling tired. I've also noticed reduced amount of sleep. I don't need to sleep as much. I've reduced it by an hour or two, which is an hour or two extra you get per day. And if you calculate that in per year, well, it's about 360 to 720 extra hours in a year. So, woohoo, that's good. And it's a lot more productivity that you can actually, well, achieve, as well as figuring out what you could be doing in life instead of constantly distracting yourself and fleeing from your life's purpose. And if it's one thing that you take away from this video is that try out small, try out maybe skipping 1, 2 meals. Have one big meal per day. Just do it once. And notice how, be cognizant of how you start feeling and how you start thinking. A lot of people might go into the mindset of, or they might, let me say this, the thoughts that might appear are of panic, of anxiety, of thoughts of scarcity, like I'm not eating enough or I'm gonna die, but that's not true. If it's any comfort, make sure to drink enough water as well. But if it's of any comfort, our ancestors have done that for thousands of years. When they couldn't hunt or when they had ran out of food, they were foraging. Sometimes they went days without food. They went into the nights hungry, but their body was used to it. They could detox and recover a lot faster. If I'm sure about all the details, no, I'm not, but I can say this: you will have a clearer mind, a fuller heart, a more relaxed and recovered body, and more life. And isn't that what we all want? Speak soon.